Doug Duda has been doing radio in the middle of Nebraska for decades now. He has quite a pulse on what the people want, what they like to talk about, who they want to hear from. Doug Duda is next on Watch the Media. Well, Doug Duda has been doing this for a day or two or a week or a couple of decades or so in the middle of Nebraska, and he's a very busy man, programming several radio stations, doing a show, preparing to do broadcasts, and here he is spending a little time with us. Thanks, Doug. We appreciate your time.
Hey, great to chat with you again, John.
This is the 2022 Nebraska Sportscaster of the Year, is that right?
That's correct.
You're the man. You're the man.
And pretty outrageous to share an award with the likes of Greg Sharp and Kevin Suits and folks like that across Nebraska. Pretty humbling.
And you carry that with you, and does that get you into places that it didn't used to get you into?
No.
Darn it.
No.
But it's pretty cool anyway, so that's great. So how in the world does a guy who's been at the same place for 28 years, math's not my best subject, since 1997, keep this job fresh and alive?
Well, I will go back to something that Denny Matthews told me one time when we were doing an interview, because I asked him, how do you keep it fresh when the Royals are totally out of it in August? And he goes, you're never going to know what you see when you come to the ballpark. So I suppose that's the same thing here every day for the Doug and Daddy show. Even if you have some recurring guests, your conversation is going to be different. What happened this last week in high school football? What happened with the Husker game? What happened with the Loper game? What happened with Hastings College? It's always something different. And then, of course, when you're doing an actual live play-by-play, whether it's UNK football or high school basketball or wrestling, you never know for sure what the outcome's going to be. There's always upsets. Just ask Penn State.
Yeah, like 2 weeks in a row. And now we're talking about Matt Rule alum at Penn State. That'll give you an idea of when we're recording this conversation. Let's get back to that in a minute, though. But you talked about all the things that are going on. You've got high school and you've got colleges in the region, Kearney and Hastings. You've got, and then others, I don't know how far you go, but York and Seward and places like that. How do you know the mix to do the high school, college, Husker mix? How do you know where that is, that balance?
Well, everybody's always going to be interested in the Huskers, still are. And with our programming here, it seems like everyone still wants to hear about their kid, their grandkid, someone from their school, if they're an alum, their students, their coaches. And you get to mix it up by talking to a variety of people, a variety of different times. It's, on one hand, John, there's not even enough time to talk to everybody. If I want to talk to every coach that's at state softball this week, or every coach that's at state golf, or we get ready for district cross country, and you still mix in what's going on weekly, and we're going to get into the postseason for volleyball and football here. There's plenty of people to talk to, and so it's not the same old thing. And the mix is, we're here in the Tri-Cities, so that's where we start, Kearney, Hastings, Grand Island, and try to make time for everybody out there. I think we've talked about this before too, from a smaller town. So growing up in a smaller town, they deserve the respect as much as anybody in a larger community, which we don't have a lot of in Nebraska. I'm not just talking, because when we say large community, we're talking Kearney and Grand Island, not so much the high schools in Lincoln and Omaha that Kearney High, Grand Island play every single other week.
So for you, it's almost like winning fans of 5, 10, 15, 20 people at a time, mom and dad from a little school 20 miles up the road. Is that kind of the way it is?
Yeah, you get to our age, John, then all of a sudden, as I was told when I was a lot younger, oh, just wait, if you're in it long enough, they'll be coming up saying, well, you used to call my games, or, and there's no doubt about it. So again, there's always a different kid. They're only in high school for the most part, 4 years, and graduate and move on. It's not like maybe having a veteran of a NFL or NBA team that's been there for 10 years, Major League Baseball team. They will move on. They'll have brothers and sisters and cousins and nephews. And you do some of these smaller schools and the same names start popping up. And if it was I see it a lot too, John, where you have greatness and then all of a sudden it kind of backs down a little bit. And then you start seeing the same names, their kids start rolling through or their relatives start rolling through and they're good again. Or there's a coach that comes in and rehashes everything. So that's where some of the newness goes, building, trying to keep the listeners you have and then trying to build meeting some new people because once in a while you go, man, even if it's at Kearney High or Kearney Catholic, I haven't heard that name right here in my own community. So let's find out a little bit more.
Because this is all about me, Doug, I'm going to give you a little bit of a story about people saying, I used to listen to you when I was a kid. David Locke is the voice of the Utah Jazz. And he said to me not long ago, I remember listening to you at KNBR in San Francisco when I was just a kid there living in the East Bay. So, it's okay. It's fine. It's fine, isn't it? It's just fine if they remember who you are. It's better than
it's a good thing. It's
throwing you out with the trash. Right?
It's a compliment.
Yeah.
And we should all hope that there was more of those these days.
Yeah, really. I'm gonna ask you about that in a couple of minutes. And I've asked you this before. Doug and Daddy is the name of the show. And for how long has it been called Doug and Daddy?
Since 2004.
Okay, since 2004. And how long has it been since Daddy didn't work there with you anymore?
Oh boy, I should have wrote that down. It's been about a decade, I suppose.
So, but you can't change the name of the show.
No, how did Nuke Coke work out?
Poorly.
Not so well.
Yeah. And boy, you talk about telling the audience how old we are. You just brought up New Coke. Thanks a lot.
Well, I said, and here was it was a catchy name. It was a different name. You can go be, the break or the end zone or the extra point, all these things that you want to come up with of all places, which they're all fine, but there's no other Doug and Daddy show in the nation. And when we reach out, if we renamed it, all of a sudden you get a new SID at Iowa. Okay, then all of a sudden you try to talk to Iowa. You want to talk to Kirk Ferentz. You want to go to Big Ten Media Days. You've worked with these people for a long time, but you don't necessarily we're looking at each other. A lot of it is as more of these Zooms are going on, as more of the shows are using those. That's one thing. But hey, Doug and Daddy. Okay, I remember. Yep, you're right there. We've been working with you for a couple of decades. You've treated us well. We're going to do that. All of a sudden, I throw out extra point in Nebraska. They're going to go, oh, who's that? Even if you explain to them you're the same person, that was always one of the main reasons I thought we should not change the name of the show.
So you've given it away a little bit for me now, and that is, what is the show's mission, Doug and Daddy? Because you've kind of given a little bit of an idea that you're not just a Kearney, Hastings, Grand Island kind of conversation, right?
Well, we want to brag on ourselves a little bit. We want to be the best little show that there is, not just in Nebraska, but I think our show is very unique. And part of it is longevity. There's no doubt about it. Longevity. I've been here a long time. Every time you talk to a college class or a high school class or anybody that's interested, wants to know, hey, how did you get this person on your show? How did you get this person on your show? How do you do it? How do you do it? Well, longevity is a big thing. You have to build relationships. And that is one of the things we try to do with the Doug and Daddy show, is build the relationships so that we can continue to, cover local, like I said, with high school and UNK and Hastings College and the GPAC conference that Hastings is in with all those Nebraska schools you mentioned, and the Huskers and Creighton, but still be able to bring in interesting guests from the Kansas City Royals, University of Minnesota for football with PJ Fleck, who we have a great relationship with, to be able to reach out and talk to other sportscasters, sports writers from across the country, and anywhere from Charles Davis and some of the guys at Fox to just your local high school basketball coach. So we want to have a good mix of everything so that it isn't the same person at the same time on the same day every week, 52 weeks a year. Some of that we do, and some of that works. There are other shows that I can mention that have the same people at the same time every week. And so that's appointment radio. And that's what you want to have with those popular guests. But you have to be able to mix in a cross-country coach and a national writer or a national broadcaster to keep people's interest. You have to keep it fresh.
You've said we a few times, but is we mostly I? You mostly put that together yourself?
Yeah. You upset the apple cart right there,
I'm
John.
sorry.
Yeah,
I'm
it is
sorry.
true. But again, that's part of the smallness
Mm-hmm.
of the whole deal. We don't have 100 employees or 50 employees working at our radio station. We've got good quality employees, and we all have multiple tasks to perform each and every day if things are going to run right.
Yeah. And they do apparently because they keep asking you back. They keep renewing your contract every couple of weeks, it appears.
I used to say that they at least haven't taken my key, and now we have keyless entry, so I still know the code. So if one of these days the code doesn't work, that's when I'm in trouble.
Yeah, you don't want to make news in that respect, do you? You do not. You also program a few of the radio stations. Can you describe a little bit about what that job is for us?
Yeah, you have to being an ESPN radio station, keep up to date with the clocks. And if you get a new guest, we just had Rich Eisen now come on Labor Day, and so they changed up the format a little bit. And he has his show's a little bit different than everybody else's, but you want to get that clock where it's a little flexible. But they have their hard breaks, their hard outs at the top of the hour. So you got to make sure that your commercials are playing at the right time, which I have a lot of help with people that do that. My major programming is, okay, which games are we going to carry? Which high school games are we going to cover? Which collegiate games are we going to cover? We've started putting Huskers on our ESPN now, but, you've got that basically 3-tier window of college football, since this is the time of the season we're at: 11 a.m., 2:30, and then the night game, wherever that's 6:37 o'clock. Decide from our multiple networks, the availability that we have, who's in the window this week, what game is the best, what NFL games are we going to carry on Sunday, what college basketball games are we going to carry, and then the outliers. Okay, we carry every game of the College World Series. Make the decision to cover that. What does that mean when we're covering these? Does it cover other shows? Does it bump things out? Do we want to carry Big Ten basketball and say, okay, we're not going to do the Doug and Daddy show on Friday because we're going to carry the entire Big Ten basketball tournament, and it starts at 11 a.m. pregame 10:30. Our show starts at 11. So, but I would say the biggest part of what I do as far as programming the stations is choosing the games that we air on ESPN and then our FM station, The Vibe.
You mentioned the several networks that you work with. What all networks do you get games from?
We have Westwood One, we have Compass, we have Sports USA, Gridiron. Some of these are kind of the same tree with the different routes that come out, which is cool. It's great to have choices. And then, of course, Royals Radio Network, Husker Sports Network, ESPN, obviously, the mothership. So that's a lot of them.
In today's media world, AM, FM, app delivery, get it on your phone. Please, folks, have a phone. You can listen. Where is the action? Where is where are people receiving your product mostly?
Good question. We're trying in this day and age to try to track who's listening online, especially, and that's huge. That has definitely grown. I mean, I suppose everybody knows that. But we have a lot of people that listen. The one thing I'll say, John, the funny thing was, whatever the sport was, you would get this from time to time. Man, your signal just barely gets here, but if I drive up to this hill on my farm, or I go outside of town and get on top of this hill, I can get you a lot clearer. So I'm going to listen to the state wrestling semifinals by going to this hill in Clarks, or going to this hill in Ainsworth, or whatever the case may be, where they can pick you up. Well, now you don't have to worry about that so much. You still get a little of that because those that are our age or older don't like messing with all the technology and all the smartphones and all the cell phones and all the apps and all that. But a lot more, you don't have to worry about that now. You can stream it. You can just bang it on your iPad or bang it on your phone, and the stream comes up and you can pick it up anywhere in the world. So that has definitely grown. AM radio, I guess I'll say this plug, still extremely important. This was something that I don't know that everybody knew about, but the government kind of got involved here saying, what's the need of AM radio? It's not even going to be, we're not even going to put it in cars that are made anymore. And then all of a sudden you don't have it. And it's like a lot of things you don't have. Then you miss it and you go, I need that back. So AM radio important because this is where you get local. This is where you get local.
Yeah, not just local sports, but when there's a tornado coming, when there's a massive storm, when there's a fire that has broken out, that's where you get it.
Yeah, why is I-80 closed? Well, this is because there's an accident in Shelton. That's why.
And where do you go?
Yeah. You're going to get that.
And that's real. That
radio, the quickest way to get it.
Yeah.
The absolute quickest way to find that information.
Yeah, and people know that too. What is the dynamic between or the rural and urban radio in 2025, or is there one?
Well, I know from just what we do, the bigger the market, you have to, there's a couple, but let's take sports. They try to do Omaha sports in Omaha, but a lot of that is maybe it's just online only. It's not necessarily where it's on a very low signal radio station because they're not sure where the marketing and the money and the contracts and all that come from. So I know that's one of them. And the time and what it costs to advertise. This is something we never talk about, but what it costs to advertise. It's like, what is a house rent for in Omaha compared to what is a house rent for in Kearney, Nebraska? Well, that's what it is in radio too. What is a radio ad that you sell somebody in Kearney versus a Nebraska Furniture Mart ad that you sell in Omaha to talk about that? More businesses. There's only so much time in an hour that you can put commercials on. And so it's a little bit more to premium. And obviously, to me, I suppose that's the biggest difference between the biggest markets and smaller markets.
And the kinds of things people like to talk about, though, are similar. Is that right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. You get to the bigger markets, and they still have success talking to their high school football coaches and their high school basketball coaches. But there are more things, but quite frankly, you have longer shows, 3-4 hour shows in the metro compared to what we do here. And those 4 hour shows, you've got to carry. You can talk Huskers for 2 hours, but after a while, do we really want to talk about Husker football in February for 4 hours? No. We do want to talk about what's going on at the time, men's and women's basketball, wrestling, getting ready for baseball season and all those kind of things. So that's great. But then you also have time to fill in with what the host wants to fill in, whether that may be talking about an injury and having a doctor on each week to break down, because there's always going to be something you can ask them about, or to talk about golf, or to talk about more of our fringe sports, whatever. I'm more of a golf guy than I would be a NASCAR guy, but every host has a little bit of listenership, but they all will gravitate to the major sports, football, basketball, baseball. So that's where you got to base it from, and then kind of fill in around there with all the other sports, because there is some interesting. I think that's why we love Scott Van Pelt. He loves college football. He loves college sports. He loves golf. And if that's what you are into, fine. He doesn't talk NASCAR very often, but if you love NASCAR and horse racing and you don't like golf, then maybe somebody else is better for you. And we talk horse racing a lot here too.
I'll be quite honest with you. When I talk with my friends I worked in a couple of big cities, and I talk with my friends, and they're really concerned about the business. And I think, honestly, it is harder to get an audience. Now, you need a bigger audience to survive, of course. But if you're carrying, let's say, where I worked, if you're carrying the San Francisco Giants and the San Francisco 49ers, that is a lot of outlay. The media rights for those two teams are incredible. So your nut is really, really tight, right? So it's tough. The business is really tough. Do you think smaller markets might have a better chance because of the audience's absolute need for them? Does that make any sense to you?
Well, maybe this is where you're headed, because, John, you know what the biggest Major League Baseball radio network in the nation is, right?
What's that?
The Kansas City Royals. Are they one of the smallest markets in the world? Yes.
Yeah.
But they have more radio outlets. They have more people that carry Royals baseball. Now, maybe the same number of people, maybe it takes that many to reach exactly what the New York Yankees have right in New York. But the biggest radio network in Major League Baseball is the Kansas City Royals, because it's in the Midwest and you don't have a team every 90 miles like Cubs, Brewers, and what you get in the eastern part of the country. So, yes, smaller markets would have an advantage. I think that's kind of what you're touching on from that aspect.
Yeah. How does then, as long as we're on the topic, Doug Duda, host of Doug and Daddy at 11 a.m. ESPN Tri-Cities every day of the week, and then I don't know how many sports events do you broadcast outside of that during the year? Do you think
a lot?
Okay, we alluded to it briefly, but how does a radio station or a group of radio stations like yours make money, survive? What is the sort of revenue model for radio in 2025? Is it the same as it was 50 years ago? No,
but there's more to sell too, John. There's more to sell. You can sell if you want to put the show on a podcast. If you want to have a little extra, there's extra things to do out there. You can sell the podcast. You can sell what you're doing online with your daily sports and your daily news. You're reading it, but you can also put it in a kind of a gram, a sports gram, a news gram type of feature. There are other ways for people to get your product besides getting in their home or getting in their car and actually physically turning on a radio. I'm sure everybody's heard, for the most part, you go and you're streaming something. Well, what's the first thing you hear? You hear a 15 or 30-second ad before it actually goes to the live stream of what you're doing. And there are many more opportunities because of the advancement of the way we can do things now.
Yeah. You've been doing this for a while, as I mentioned. You've been at that radio station since 1997. You were in the business before that as well. What is it still about the job? And some days it's 12 hours a day and 6 or 7 days a week. Maybe, I hope for you, some days it's not. I hope more days it's not. But what is it that still gets you out of the door in the morning and says, I want to do this?
Well, otherwise they wouldn't pay me.
That'd be one reason. That's
for the little amount that we do get. But yeah, I mean, okay, so you want me to talk about me for a second. All right, so here we go.
Please.
Here we go. So here is the way this kind of stretch will go. Besides doing the Doug and Daddy show Monday through Friday, scheduling all the games, high school, college, and pro. Last week on Tuesday night, because we are now Flood Communications, purchased our radio group here about 4 years ago. So News Channel Nebraska, I think a lot of people are familiar with that. We do a lot of UNK home stuff. So last Tuesday was a UNK home game against Fort Hays State. Last Thursday, at the end of a normal, what everybody else would consider an 8-hour workday, then you go do the games. Thursday was a volleyball triangular. Friday, I got in the vehicle after the show and drove to Mitchell go ahead, look it up, Kearney to Mitchell for a football game, turned around, came right back, 1:20 in the morning, got up, did UNK football, their homecoming game on Saturday at 2, and then it's conference volleyball for most of ours. So tonight, 3 conference volleyball games, 2 conference volleyball games on Tuesday, championship, 2 games on Thursday. Then we'll get right back into another football game. Huskers are playing a game that night, and that is just the 2-week scenario here. So every time it's something different. As I said, you get to see some of your friends, you get to see some of the in tournament time. So see how the cream rises to the top. You should get some great matchups. I always try to schedule good matchups, but tournament time, usually you get great matchups. And as I said, state golf, state softball, we've got all that mixed in here and get to have some excitement because somebody is going to be conference champ, somebody's going to be district champ, somebody's going to be state champ. And we're fortunate enough that we get a lot of those in our area. And so why do we get up and go after it? Because that's what we do. We work hard. We're Midwesterners, John. We just get after it. If you want to, I mean, I'm not busting manual labor while I'm here. I get to do that on the farm over the weekends. But when it comes to sports, the time is the big deal. The time.
Yeah. And how many of those games are you doing? I've asked you that before. 100? Are you talking about hundreds of games a year?
I say it's 200 events a year.
Okay.
you know, probably more than that. You know, when you say 3 volleyball games tonight, every night you do a basketball, it's 95% of the time it's a doubleheader. Football is the only thing that's different than that. This has actually been an unusual year. There's every once in a while you could pick up an afternoon game on a Friday and then go 20 miles down the road and hit a night game and do a doubleheader. That it didn't work that way for us this year, but I've done that numerous times as well. And this is the first year that I've been doing UNK football home games on Saturday on NCN, something that we've been doing as a network for quite a while, but took that on this year as well. So something new to cover on Saturdays.
Now, everybody who's ever done this for a minute knows that you have to prep for all those games. How do you get the preparation you need when you're doing that many events in a week?
Shout out to all the college guys because most of them are pretty good SIDs. They put together about a 10 to 15 page packet. And if you look at the Huskers, it grows every week. But all those, they've got great SIDs. They start one at the beginning. Some people will, you know, as a fan, you might go get a program. You might get a media guide for $20 or $25 at the beginning of the year and see what we see, but then they add to it. And so with the UNK stuff, there's the 2 deeps and the starters are kind of given to us because there are multiple media outlets that want that. When I'm doing high school, it's pretty much all on my own. You're emailing or calling all the coaches. For football every week, you're setting up a pregame interview. And while you're doing that, you're going over the pronunciation of names because nothing will get you in trouble more here. Give the score and make sure you say the right name because mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, they'll let you know if you're not. So you go over those, you get the starters, you do a however long interview you want to do, which is a little bit different. We do a half-hour high school football pregame, so my high school coaches are anywhere from 6 to 9 minutes long, and you're getting stats. Hopefully, there's another thing. We've got huddle and max preps, and they're being encouraged more and more to put those up. Every coach keeps stats, so why not have them up? So a little bit better availability. And if they're not, coaches are good about getting those to us. But for the high school, John, it's pretty much all on me. For the college and for those in the pros, you got to prep, but there is a lot of help out there when it comes to that next level.
How do you then keep your energy and your voice and your sort of awesome attitude on the air when there's so many balls that are being bounced around you all the time?
I always joke, John, and tell them lots of medication. Lots of medication. This here, though, is water. This is water that's in here right now. But no, I'm pretty lucky with that. You can always tell when you come off the summer, the first couple of games, the voice is tested a little bit more when you're into a football or volleyball game. Anytime you've had a little bit more of a break than doing it every other night or 3 nights in a row, you train that, and sometimes you're just lucky. I think I'm a little luckier than others in that aspect. I don't want to talk about illness because then the next thing you know, we will be. But been pretty fortunate with that. And we don't eat the best. There's no doubt about it. We're always on the road, so you got to try to take care of yourself. I got no big tips on that one though for you, John. How to best take care of yourself, because you can take any professional dietitian's diet or any broadcaster, and everybody does it a little bit different. But you've always got lemon drops or cough drops and something to drink, a water or a Gatorade or a Powerade or something at every ball game you go, so that you can, if it does start to clog up a little bit, you can take a timeout and kind of help you out there in about 30 seconds.
Yeah, no sugary drinks, no sodas, and that nothing that'll gum up the works there. That's for sure.
Always have a fan that says, "Can I get you anything? Can I bring you some popcorn?" And I always have to say, I can't do a game and eat popcorn. I mean, it pops into their head. Oh yeah, what am I thinking? What am I thinking here? But fans are great too. Yeah, and I suppose that's another thing between, not necessarily. That's another thing between small town and big town. You probably get to know more people on a limited basis. I mean, even in the big towns, you're going to get the people that you see all the time. And college and professional, there's people you see all the time, but you think of those big timers, that's why we go to Duke a lot to cover men's basketball, but we know them a lot and they're good a lot. We only go to the Masters once a year. We only go to the Red River rivalry once a year, but we may see those golfers or we may see those football coaches and SIDs more than once a year, whether it's home or away.
And when you walk into Kennesaw and get a coffee at the local cafe there, they know who you are, right?
Most of the time.
Yeah, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah, so stay on top of it and be nice to people, and hopefully they're nice right back to you.
The key is that they always answer the phone when you call, right?
Yeah, for the most part.
Or
Yeah,
mostly, yeah.
or they get back to you.
I'm sure there's some people who say, "Well, I don't know. He's not coming to town again, is he?"
Yeah,
That never happens, does it?
no.
No. You have so many other things to do. You call all those games. You program, you host, you do play-by-play, and then how much do you have to do the social media part of your operation?
Not very good at it. I'll tell you that. I wish I was better at that. I do some social media. We post every day what's going to be on the Doug and Daddy show with X and Facebook. Uh, we don't really do the YouTube thing as far as like put the show on live on YouTube. You listen, you don't want to look at us, but I guess that's growing as well. We do have other folks that are really good about posting to all the places that need to be posted. Hey, here's what the games are we're doing this week. Put some good graphics up. Some of the contests that we run with our Doug and Daddy show, I get the initial thing going and then pass it on to the folks that do that for our group of radio stations, and they do a bang up job with that. So again, it's cool to have some of the college kids that help us out with the radio show and produce it from time to time. They know a little bit more about that, and that's okay. It's okay. We can't all do everything. Everybody is a little bit better, I think, at parts of their jobs. Like I said, I'm not a social media guru. I understand it, and I try to do the best I can. But it's also nice to have people in the company that know it better than I do and do it better than I do.
Do you ever get phone calls during your show of somebody in a combine during harvest time listening and need to get some important information?
Well, it's not so much anymore, and I've noticed this with a lot of our shows across the state. I guess I would say, yeah, they get it. But when things are going bad, that's when things, I mean, the first time it ever really came here is when Bill Callahan was going down the tubes at Nebraska. And oh, yeah, I mean, I had Ernie and Wood River call me all the time on the show, and we encourage it. It's just that then it got to the point of, oh, well, they recognize who I am. I don't want them recognizing who I am. And I joke about that. And even if they'd make up fake names, people go, oh, well, that's Terry, or that's Bob, or that's Linda, And so, and then we all kind of came numb to what happened in Nebraska football after a while. And we still get them from time to time, but a lot more emails, a lot more on X that'll fire it out there, because then we can read it and they don't have to worry about coming on air. There's still some people that love being on the air. I've noticed that on a variety of different shows and Husker football recap. And you know what we're talking about, John, that they always have an opinion. Others would just like to sit and listen to those who have their opinions, because sometimes it is a little comedic.
The best guy I worked for in radio used to say, we like those callers, but it's not the callers I care about. It's the listeners. Those callers are the people you use to kind of foil when you need one, but it's the listeners. Those are the folks who are paying our checks. So thank you.
And they are not, those callers are, you never know. You never know what you're going to get, because you're trying to keep your show moving along. You want them to make their point. You want to be kind to those callers. But after a while you go, okay, thanks, Johnny. Thanks for your call. We'll talk to you later. Thanks for listening, and things like that.
Yeah, a little bit of inside radio here. And it does take a while to learn to be that guy who says, get out of here, without saying get out of here, right? It's like, okay, thanks, Johnny, appreciate that. And find that one pause in his comment to get him out of there, because he has dragged the show down for too long.
Yeah, because they try to be cordial. There's a couple of the national hosts that say, hey, when you call in, don't ask me how I'm doing. Don't ask me what I'm doing. Just get to the point. That way we can get to a lot of the calls. And I'm trying to lay the groundwork for you. Say, yeah, hey, Rich, how about that NFL game? You were talking about the Cowboys and the Panthers. Well, here's what I think. I hate the Cowboys. I love the Panthers. Or, make your point, keep it short. And that way we can entertain having a lot of callers on the show. It's a hard class to teach, though.
we want the callers to be good listeners too. We want them to sit through the commercial breaks, all 4 or 5 minutes of those commercial breaks. We want them to listen through. And so that's it. Hey, one final thing. How many miles a year do you put on your car?
It's a little more than 20,000. And again, for some of our folks that go and do the NAIA or Division II, 1A that don't fly on the plane with the Huskers or Creighton or the big time Division I programs, that's probably, but then they're also only gone once or twice a week. They're going, whatever, whatever. But yeah, I don't know. Does 20,000 seem like a lot? 20 to 25,000? It
seems like a lot. That seems like a lot. Yeah.
It's not what my semi driver's doing every day, but
no, and then they're listening too, thankfully.
Usually it's dark when I'm driving. So.
and a lot of the folks who are doing those games you were talking about are driving to the airport and back. They're not driving to Mitchell for a game and then turning around doing a college game the next day. So there you go.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Yeah, that's right. Well, thank you, Doug. I appreciate it. Congratulations on everything. Programs, again, I don't know how many stations, including ESPN Tri-Cities. Doug and Daddy is at 11 a.m. And you can find it in the middle of the state, or you can find it on your phone, right?
Yeah, ESPNSuperstation.com is one place you can go. There's a couple, 3, but ESPNSuperstation.com. If you want to stream it, listen to the podcast, so you can find it all there. And John, I appreciate always running into you, and thank you for thinking that this will be interesting for anybody else but us two.
Well, if it was interesting to nobody else but us two, it's been valuable. So thank you. We hope so. The 2022 Nebraska Sportscaster of the Year, and been almost 30 years, not quite, 28 years, working in Kearney in the middle of the state of Nebraska. And he's been kind enough to spend some time with us. I'm John Shrader. He's Doug Duda, and this is Watch the Media.